Welcome to today's Explainer, the daily creatine paradigm shift. We're going to jump right in and break down the profound, totally invisible biological effects that happen in your body every single day when you take this incredibly misunderstood molecule. Let's get into it.
So first things first, is creatine really just a supplement for physical strength and bodybuilders? For decades, its image has been tied almost exclusively to gym culture, slamming heavy weights and chasing visible muscle size. But what if I told you the actual magic happens completely silently, long before you ever see a single change in the mirror? We're going to challenge those old assumptions right now and uncover the foundational cellular changes that literally benefit everyone, whether you're hitting the gym hard or, honestly, just wanting to carry your groceries and climb the stairs with effortless ease.
Because here's the thing, a completely silent biochemical shift begins within the very first 24 hours of taking creatine. Your cells immediately start absorbing it, kind of like a completely dry sponge just soaking up water. And this uptake, it isn't random. Your body responds perfectly, because creatine isn't some weird foreign substance. It's a molecule your internal system already knows exactly how to use. This incredibly early recalibration is laying the invisible groundwork for absolutely everything that follows. Okay, let's tackle one of the biggest misconceptions out there, the whole myth of subcutaneous bloating versus the reality, which is intracellular hydration. People are always worrying that creatine is just going to make them hold water weight and look all puffy. But actually, what's happening on day one is that your muscles are subtly adjusting their internal water balance. The water is being drawn inside the muscle cell itself, not pooling outside of it under your skin. So it's not bloating at all. It's actually a highly positive adaptation. Think of it like optimizing the internal environment of a car engine, so it runs cooler and way more reliably under pressure. And that cooled engine analogy brings us right here, to the mitochondria. These are the miniature cellular engines that determine exactly how much energy your body can produce at any given moment. When creatine levels rise within the cell, these tiny engines begin to interact differently. They essentially start operating with a much greater state of readiness. Now, you don't get a sudden, jittery jolt of energy like you just downed a massive cup of coffee. Instead, your body quietly supercharges its capabilities in the background, which allows these cellular engines to respond so much faster to sudden energy demands. All of this brings us to the true scientific anchor of our explainer today, ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. I want you to think of ATP as your body's ultimate energy coin. You literally cannot spend energy without it. Every single movement you make, every heartbeat, even every thought you have depends entirely on spending this ATP coin. The catch? ATP burns out incredibly fast. We're talking within just seconds of hard exertion. So your body is in this constant, desperate race to replenish it.
Here is exactly how creatine steps in as the ultimate recycling partner. It's a simple three-step process. Step 1, your ATP breaks down to give you that quick burst of energy. Step 2, creatine swoops in and instantly donates a phosphate group. Step 3, ATP reforms instantly. Because of this beautifully efficient recycling loop, a very limited energy currency is transformed into a highly sustainable one. Your body doesn't have to rely on slower metabolic pathways that make you feel fatigued. Your cells aren't guessing anymore. They are totally prepped and ready for action. Now, because your cells are instantly regenerating that ATP, you hit a really specific biological sequence. Strength always precedes shape. Long before any visible changes show up in your physique, your nervous system becomes highly efficient at recruiting muscle fibers. You'll actually notice your coordination improving, your peak force goes up, you can sprint faster, and yes, you can lift heavier. The functional, real-world performance always improves first, gradually building up a much stronger baseline before the physical aesthetics ever catch up. Let's map this timeline out so you can really visualize this biological progression. In the first 24 hours, you get that intracellular hydration we talked about, the cellular engine cooling down, right? Then between weeks 3 and 6, you hit peak nervous system adaptation. That's where both your muscles and your nervous system fully adjust to this massive new pool of available energy. And then, looking at the long-term phase, we see ongoing muscle preservation and, absolutely crucially, cognitive resilience. It's a compounding process where the benefits stretch from day one into literally years down the line. Taking a slightly closer look at the muscular adaptations, the benefits are practically a master checklist for cellular health. Better hydrated fibers activate growth pathways way more efficiently, meaning your protein synthesis is highly responsive. It improves glycogen preservation, literally saving that secondary fuel source for later when you really need it. It even buffers acidic byproducts like hydrogen ions and ammonia that build up and cause that awful burning fatigue.
And because of that speedy ATP recycling, your cellular repair processes kick into hyperdrive after a workout, meaning a significantly faster, smoother recovery. Okay, hold on to everything we just learned about ATP recycling because we are about to make a major pivot. What happens when we apply this exact same energy mechanism to the brain? A lot of people don't realize this, but while your brain only accounts for about 2% of your total body weight, it burns through a staggering 20% of your body's ATP. It is by far the most energy-hungry organ you have. So if creatine helps your cells recycle ATP instantly, well, the implications for your cognitive function are absolutely massive. When creatine levels rise in the brain, your neurons suddenly gain much faster access to fuel. And research shows the greatest cognitive boosts happen in specific groups. Vegetarians and vegans see massive shifts because their natural dietary stores start out quite a bit lower. Sleep-deprived individuals or people under high cognitive demand, folks facing incredibly heavy workloads or chronic stress, they see dramatic, highly measurable improvements in their working memory and reaction times. It essentially acts as an energetic buffer, protecting your brain from mental fatigue. But the really crucial takeaway here is that this is a subtle enhancement of natural function. It's not a stimulant like buzz. Because your brain gradually shifts into a more energy-efficient state, your neurons gain a much steadier, more reliable supply of ATP. Imagine trying to run a high-tech smartphone on a potato battery. That is a brain struggling with fluctuating glucose levels. Creatine comes in and provides a stable, modern power grid. Mental tasks just feel smoother, they're more sustainable, and they require far less effort to maintain your focus throughout the day. Now, despite all this incredible science, we definitely need to clear up some outdated fears. The myth: creatine causes kidney damage and severe cramping. The reality: it is just safe metabolism and actually leads to a reduced cramping risk. Studies on healthy individuals have consistently shown zero adverse effects on kidneys. This whole fear actually comes from a misunderstanding of creatinine levels. Creatine naturally rises as a normal byproduct of this healthy energy metabolism, not because your kidneys are failing. And as for cramping, that intracellular hydration we discussed earlier actually protects your cells, making you significantly less likely to cramp under heavy strain. When we zoom out and look at the big picture, the long-term biological benefits, it becomes crystal clear that creatine is a fundamental biological enhancer. It preserves muscle mass in older adults, which is a hugely powerful ally for maintaining mobility and independence as we age. It supports metabolic health and glucose handling, which reduces overall systemic fatigue, and it protects those vital neural energy systems we just talked about. This whole conversation stretches so far beyond just gym routines. This is really about optimizing systemic wellness and healthy aging.
And hey, if you were wondering about the safety of taking it every single day for years, your body regulates saturation naturally. Excess creatine simply isn't stored. Hundreds of robust studies across multiple populations over decades completely confirm this. Your body adapts in a really stable, predictable way. You reach optimal saturation, and your system simply excretes whatever it doesn't need. It's not some trendy biohacking shortcut. It is a meticulously researched tool that just optimizes what your body is already trying to do naturally.
Which brings us to our final thought. Do you take creatine, or are you considering starting? After learning how profoundly this molecule silently shifts your cellular energy, protects your brain, and guards your physical independence, are you still leaving your biological engines running on empty? I really hope this structured look at the science has empowered you with a completely new understanding of your cellular health. Keep learning, keep optimizing, and we will see you in the next explainer.